Oh man, that's not good. Dang, what is that? Okay, so just got home and the car started smoking pretty gnarly. Ton of smoke inside the cabin. Let's see if there's even anything to show you. A ton of smoke in the cabin. I don't know if you can really see it. It was kind of floating around earlier, but lots and lots of smoke in the interior of the car. The engine bay looks normal at first glance. Doesn't feel like there are any fluids, although there's a really intense burning smell. So I'm wondering where that could be coming from. There's a little bit of fluid there on the pulley. Not sure what fluid that is exactly. It seems to be down towards the steering rack as well, so I'm gonna try to get a better visual of that in just a second. The valve cover looks fine. No seepage around the valve cover of any kind. Oil cap looks fine, I suppose. In the actual valve cover, seems fine. Looks like oil. Maybe you can see that. It's on the frame of the car and it's on that lower hose. So there's a ton of shavings there at the very bottom. It looks like one of the pulleys exploded, but I can't really tell too much from up here. So I'm gonna pull the intake and see if I can get a better visual as to what's going on down there. Okay, so I just pulled all the fasteners off the intake. So we're gonna pull the intake really quick to get a better look at what those metal shavings are down there. So after pulling the intake off, we realized that the AC compressor, which is down here, literally exploded itself. This thing decided to just end it all tonight. And if you really look in there, you can see all of the little shards of metal that are chilling on top of the subframe. I guess there's like a little bit of oil built into it. Some part here has like, I don't know, contains some amount of oil. So that's what we're looking at here. So I'm gonna try to do as best as I can to save a little bit of like the paint on the bay, but a little bit of it came off. That's cool. Some of this stuff. Dude, this poor engine bay's had so much bad luck, man. I'm not a bad owner. I've just gotten unlucky, you know? Like, had a couple random leaks here and there, but I did my best to like kind of get them taken care of as soon as possible, you know? But yeah, I don't know, dude. This poor car. I'm gonna call this a win just because I was sure I'd blown the head gasket on this car. The way that this thing was smoking through the vented hood, I was like, dude, this is it. Like, this is the end. Yeah, I'll take a blown AC compressor any day over a blown head gasket, so. Okay, so I think we're just gonna call it a night for now. It's like 2 a.m. and I wasn't planning on tearing the engine bay apart and trying to figure out what exploded. I would have been really sad if this engine had just been toast tonight. I'm like not emotionally ready to say goodbye to this thing just yet, but yeah, I think that's gonna be it for tonight. Yo, so I'm checking in on this. It's been about 2 days since the last clip that you just saw. I've been doing my homework, learning a little bit more about the problem, asking around, and I have what I think is the solution that's gonna help us get the car to move under its own power, which it hasn't been able to do in the last 2 days. The AC compressor, which is this guy down there, ended up just calling it quits, pretty much ruining the entire AC system in the process. It's a topic for another video. But what it was also doing was frying the serpentine belt, which would explain a lot of the smoke that I think we were running into. This, you know, the belt was pretty much just toasting itself on the seized pulley, which I think is what's happening. So tonight what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna double check to make sure that the pulley is seized, and if it is, then I think I have a way to bypass it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove tension on the belt really quick. Pull the belt. Check out the belt, dude. This thing was done. I don't know if you can see that. There are literal like chunks of ribs that were pretty much just eaten away, which is gnarly. There are literal burn marks. I don't know if you can see that. Like, this thing is literally getting scorched. Honestly, thank God for the vented hood. The vented hood was the only reason I like was really tipped off as to the smoke. Okay, so this is the compressor. No, the thing's done, yeah. This thing should be free spinning, and it's not. This thing is totally seized. Okay, All right, that's good to know. So I don't have the means to replace the entire compressor at the moment, but what we are gonna do is we're basically just gonna bypass that compressor pulley altogether. The S2000 has a Club Racer model, which I'm sure you're familiar with, but within the Club Racer model, there's actually a sub model known as the Delete model, which deletes AC entirely. So you can literally go to the auto parts store and off the shelf ask for a Club Racer Delete model belt. And that's exactly what I did. So this is the new belt. Went to my local AutoZone to pick this up. This was on the shelf, believe it or not. Actually, funny enough, they didn't even have the standard serpentine belt. All they had was the CR Delete model belt. So it was literally perfect. And this is exactly what I hope we're gonna need to get the car to move under its own power. And while I kind of scoop up a little bit of cash to get the AC system replaced, because I don't plan on deleting AC on this car anytime soon. All right, so I'm gonna get this installed. Pretty much just ditch that compressor pulley entirely, and hopefully the car should be ready to turn on. Goes down like this. Okay, there's the belt installed. As you can see, we pretty much ditched this thing entirely. So I'm hoping that it's gonna be okay to run the car. Obviously not using AC ever again, or at least until we get this thing fixed, with the new belt installed and everything in its place. All right, well, I'm gonna turn it on. Dang it, there's a code. Dang it, I wonder what it could be. Okay, well, I mean, the car is drivable, right? Yeah, it feels like, I mean, the car will get me home, so that's, you know, all that we were really hoping for. So I'm gonna call it a win, and then we'll figure out what the code is for as soon as possible.